Hi, friends. Happy Wealth Wednesday. This is my favorite day of the week. I didn't think I would have time to come on and do a live video with you, but I've got a couple of minutes, I think, while my children are not being crazy. They're playing nicely downstairs, so we're gonna attack this because this is my favorite topic. I want to tell you something. Sorry, I'm sideways on my phone and I never know where to look. Every single one of you, hey, Emily Martin, every single one of you is a personal brand, whether or not you have a business. I say business, okay? You just haven't figured out how to rein it in and monetize on it yet. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is you all stand for something, right? You have things you're passionate about. You have things that people come to you for. What do people know you for? I'll give you an example. People come to me for toxin-free questions. They're like, Gwen, is this a safe product? Gwen, what do you use on your kids? Gwen, how should I do this with homeschooling? And they come to me for those things because those are things I'm passionate about and those are things that I talk about all the time. So start to think about the things that you talk about. Hey, Christine, and that you show up with. Like Christine is so good. I can tell you, I know exactly what Christine's personal brand is. She has this locked down and she talks about it all the time. And it's not like she started talking about it in order to create a personal brand. This just is her personal brand because it is her life and she's passionate about talking about those things. So start to think about what kinds of things make your personal brand. If it is, I'm not even going to go there. We're going to ask a couple of questions that are going to help you figure that out. So here's the thing on Wealth Wednesday, right? I see so many people burned out right now, stressed out. The world is a crazy place. We have a lot of jobs in America that ask us to trade time for money. And what I mean by that is like, you have to go to work, you're salaried, and you have to show up and be there at 7 and you get to go home maybe at 5:30, right? So you're a salaried employee, you trade your time for your money. If you don't show up to that job, you don't get paid. It makes sense, right? But your salary doesn't change if you show up at 6 a.m. and go home at 5, or if you show up at 6 a.m. and go home at 7:30, or if you take work home with you and you have to work on it at home, your salary doesn't change. You're trading time for money. Now, you might not be salaried and maybe you're hourly, but you're probably not allowed to work extra hours, or if you are, you're capped at a certain amount, right? So we are literally in the state of the world where we're trading our time, which is the only thing that we cannot get back, for money. And we have to start to think about how much of that is worth it. How much of life are we missing out on because we literally have to trade spending time at our job in order to create an income that supports our lifestyle? I decided that it wasn't worth it for me because one, I wasn't passionately enjoying my job, right? So if that's you and that's where you are and you don't like going to work, and that's okay if you don't, even if you went to school for 8 years and then you decided that you don't like what you're doing, it's fine. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of figuring out who you are and what your personal brand is. That doesn't mean that you have to stay in that position forever just because you went to school for that, right? Just because you spent money on that doesn't mean that you have to do that for the rest of your life. Your job is to find happiness and health and abundance in your life. That's your job. And then if you have kids, your job is to show your kids that they too can find happiness and health and abundance, right? That you can have fun, that you like the career that you work in, that you get to spend time with your family when you want to, that you can have a system that you know, whether you're Christian or Catholic, or you have no religion, but you believe in speaking to the universe or your spirit guides, it doesn't matter, but that you can have faith in something, that you're surrounded by friends who support you, right? And that you're a good friend in return. Like, these are our jobs. These are the key areas of life that we're supposed to do. So how can you find your personal brand? And if you haven't, my question to you is, why not? And I think the reason is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that some of you are afraid to step in to your own potential. I know it's there because you're afraid of what other people are going to think. Is that true? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. You're afraid to step into your own potential because you're afraid of what other people will say or think about you. Can you go back to high school and think about, or the first day of school, and just think about the afraid person that you were? Okay, maybe not everybody. Hey, Jen. But can you think about that time where you're like, I would never dye my hair blue. I wouldn't want people to think that I shop at Hot Topic. I shopped at Hot Topic, by the way, like for my whole life. No, but I definitely did have a really good pair of Jinko jeans and they were epic. I had like 25 pockets. I probably wouldn't even need a purse. If I had those jeans still, I probably wouldn't even need a purse because I could fit all my stuff in my Jinko jean pockets. And my wallet would have never lost it. It was attached to a chain to my pocket. So you guys, if that's not efficiency, I think we should bring Jinko jeans back. Long live the mom purse. No, let's get rid of the mom purse and bring Jinko jeans back, right? Emily, I wouldn't need a rack for my oils because they would all fit in my pockets. Okay, that's besides the point. But if you wore Jinko jeans, please just give me a high five in the comments. So some of you are afraid to show up because you're afraid of what other people are going to think about you. It has happened to all of us. We don't all start in this place of knowing that we can show up and knowing that people are going to accept us. But we create this image in our mind that we have to be accepted. And we have to get likes and comments and feedback from people that we're doing the right thing. Because if we don't get that, then we feel like we're not accepted into society. I want you to know that that's wrong. And I want you to know that everyone's personal brand is different. And that you have one, and we're going to ask a couple questions so that you can figure out what yours is and you can start to work on it. I'm also going to give you a couple of book recommendations, and then I'll link them in the comments so you guys can just click on the link and buy them. These are amazing books for you to listen to in the car or read when you get 5 minutes in the bathtub, any of that. Okay. One question that you can ask yourself to figure out what your personal brand is, and then use that to monetize on it, rein in on it, monetize on it. What would you change in your life? What don't you like about your life right now? Okay, these are questions to kind of help you figure out where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. What would you change in your life? What don't you like? What would you like to have? That's one question. The other question that's kind of similar, what do you want, right? So here are the things that I would change. And instead, what do I want in my life? And that could be money. That could be a housing situation. That could be a family. That could be to have more fun. That could be to have a good connection with God or the universe or your spirit, whatever. That could be relinquished relationships that you've maybe lost touch with people. That could be having more friends or being a better friend. It doesn't matter. What do you want? Okay. The other question that you can ask is, what kind of extra money would make a difference for you right now, right? Because we all, you cannot deny it, it is Wealth Wednesday, we're going to talk about money. We all could use extra money. How much extra money would make a difference in your life right now? Is it $500 a month? Is it $5,000 a year? Like, what kind of extra money would make a difference in your life right now? Again, everyone's situation is different. Think about that. It could be as little as $50. If you just had an extra $50, you could buy organic food instead of non-organic, and that would change your life. Make the decision on what kind of money you would need right now to make a difference. What are your passions? What do you love? What do you love reading about? What do you love talking about? What do you find yourself talking about with your husband or your spouse? What do you find yourself talking about with your friends? What do you find yourself Googling at 11 p.m. at night, right? Like, what are you watching videos on? What are your passions? And sometimes you don't know them because you've been so wrapped up in your salaried job or your 9-to-5 job or your mom job or your life that you've been living just because you think that's the next step that you have to take, right? Go to school, get a job, have a career, have kids, have a family. Like, you don't have to live that life if you don't want to. But some of you don't know what your passions are because you've never explored them past what you're doing right now. Take time to journal on that question and really think hard and just pay attention throughout the day. Oh God, I really talk a lot about water. Like, or I talk a lot about fluoride. Like, what are your passions? Emily said, I didn't know until my husband and I sat down for an entire Saturday and mapped it out. Yeah. And sometimes just sitting down with a glass of wine or a glass of water or a glass of tea at night and just talking to your husband and being like, what do you think my passions are? Right? Like, asking somebody else is really, really helpful. The other way to ask that too is, what do other people think of you for? I know what people come to me asking. What do people come to you asking? When you start to get texts from your friends, start to pay attention to what they're asking you, right? I know my people come to me for, we already talked about this, toxin-free ideas. How do I rid my house of toxins? Gwen, is this DIY recipe gonna work? How do I make healthier laundry option choices? Like, all these things, you guys. People come to you for specific reasons, so start to pay attention to what they are. And then the number one thing, it's not a question, it's just the number one thing that you can do right now to figure this out, how to rein in your passions, how to rein in your personal brand and then monetize on it, is mindset work. And what I mean when I say monetize on it, so you guys all know I love network marketing. And the reason why I love network marketing is because it has changed the way I thought of jobs, changed the way that I could live my life. I no longer have to put in 8 to 10 hours a day at a job and trade my time for money. I don't have to do that. I've maximized how I get to spend my time, where I spend my time, making sure that I can have fun, that I can spend time with my family, that I can do all the things that are super important to me, right? That are my priorities on my own time, and still monetize on that. And know that if I want to monetize on it more, then I put a little bit more time in here, right? So I love that model because it's allowed me to look at work differently. And it wasn't a realization to me that work could feel good until I landed in this spot. So my point in telling you that is that you can start to look at what your personal brand is and say you want to be a healthy mom. Well, maybe you connect yourself with a company that has healthy products, right? And so you get to be a brand ambassador. You get to tell people, oh, I'm using this product. And of course it has to be authentic, right? You have to actually love the product. I'm using this product. Let me point you in a direction of how to get that for yourself. And around that, you get to provide people with education on how to use those things, what you use them for. Maybe you make a DIY recipe. How can you connect yourself to a brand that is a network marketing company that will pay you for showing people how to get that same brand? And at the same time, you're showing up with your personal brand. And I mean that as in, like, I'm really passionate about antioxidants and gut health. And so in my company, we have ways to improve our gut health, right? We have products that help with that. We have supplements that help with that. We have essential oils that help with that. So yes, I am recommending a product for somebody, but I'm also showing up with my personal brand in that I love talking about gut health. Somebody else might love talking about hair care, natural hair care, or natural skin care. So you get to show up in your own personal brand, and not only are you now helping people and bringing value to people, but you're also monetizing your personal brand, and you're being paid by a company to direct other people towards those things that you get to love, right? Like, the world just made sense. It connected. It just made sense when all these things connect. So I'm just saying that you can monetize on anything, and especially your personal brand. Your personal brand will lead you through your life. It will be the thing that puts you out ahead of other people who don't maybe know what their personal brand is, right? Because right now, everybody is selling essential oils. But is everybody who's selling essential oils showing up and talking about mind, gut, skincare? Those are my top 3 things. Are people showing up that way, or are they just showing up and saying, essential oils are great, here, go buy some? What's going to make the difference between that person and somebody else who knows what their personal brand is and is showing up giving value around that, right? Can you monetize on that? Okay. The number one thing you could do right now is mindset work. So here are 5 books I'm going to give you in recommendations. I will put them in the comments with links on how to get them, so you guys can start reading at least one of these books and get started right now. Even if you've been working on yourself for the past couple of years and you haven't read any of these books, or you want to read them again, always a benefit to read. Always. Number 1, For Your Career by Richard Bliss Brooke. This is the very first book that I read 6 years ago that changed the way I thought about making money, that changed the way I thought about showing up and monetizing on my personal brand. Richard Bliss Brooke, For Your Career. Number 2 is ULA, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World by Dave Braun and Troy Amidal. Those are 2 doctors that came together to write that book about finding balance in your life, which leads you to then showing up as yourself, 100% authentic. And when you get to show up 100% as yourself, authentically, you can literally change the world. Because you do not care what anybody else thinks. You just know that you're here to change the world with what you have to bring people, right? ULA, Find Balance in an Unbalanced World. Again, I will link these. The third book is Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that book, it's a thicker book. It's really good. You can listen to it on audiobook. You can buy it and read it physically. What happens to me is I listen to the book first on audio, and if I really like it, then I buy it physically. So all these books I have in my library. Think and Grow Rich is by Napoleon Hill. The fourth book is Finish by John Acuff. That's a really great book. He's actually a really, really good author. Tons of other great books too. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you guys, that's one of my favorite books by Robert Kiyosaki. He writes a great book. Go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Follow him on social media too. He gives a lot of great tips that are easy to break down and understand as far as wealth and financial statistics and information go. Because I'm not a stock trader guru, right? But he gives information that's easy for me to digest and understand and then go implement for my own wealth and my own investments. So the one thing I want to leave you guys with is that we don't have to have it all figured out to start, right? We can do this together. And that's one of the things that I love so much about network marketing is that we get to come together as a unit. It is not a woman eat woman world. We're not here by ourselves to monetize our own business and leave everybody in the dust. We get to come together and help each other grow and learn and flourish and find our passions. And by helping other people do that, we actually learn a lot more about ourselves. So if you're looking for more balance in your life, and that could be in any of the areas of faith, of finance, of having fun, of having better friends or being a better friend, in your fitness, in your, did I say finance? Because that's really important, in your finances. Because listen, this is what I figured out. This is great on Wealth Wednesday. Once you figure out your finances, the other areas of your life can kind of come together. You figure out your finances, you have less stress, so you have more fun, you get more time with your family, you have a better career. It affects the entire wheel of life. So finances, figure that out. We don't have to have it all figured out to start. Grab a buddy, join a community. I am happy to guide you if you have questions. If you're like, I don't know what my personal brand is, let's talk. Christine says, I might have to reread Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, try it again, Christine, because I feel like you'll have a different perspective on it now. If you read it in college, it might be different now. And also Christine Underwood said, hey, Lauren. Christine Underwood said, we rise together. And we do. We literally cannot do this alone, and we're not meant to. So we grab each other and we lift each other up, because my personal brand is different than Christine's. But I know that I have people who need what Christine has to say, and Christine has people that need what I have to say, and we get to connect in that way. So I love you guys. I'm going to link those books in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, please let me know if you read any of them and what you think of them, because they're personal favorites. And I really think that we need to be doing more of this conversation. So you guys are rock stars. Happy Wealth Wednesday. Spread the wealth today. I'll talk to you guys later.